When they were first formed in 1967, GO Transit's first pieces of equipment were simple. Its first equipment order consisted of 8 GP40 TCs, a passenger variant of EMD's GP40, and single-level passenger cars by Canadian rolling stock manufacturer Hawker Siddeley. This consisted of 32 coaches, 8 cab cars, and 9 self-propelled cars. These cars were delivered in 1967, originally numbered 9825 to 9833, and were classified as the RTC 85 SPD. For the breakdown of its classification, the R meant rapid, T transit, C coach, 85 to indicate 85 feet long, SP self-propelled, and D double end. These cars were powered by a 330 horsepower Rolls-Royce diesel engine, which connected to a mechanical transmission alongside a GM Harper auxiliary to provide 575 volts worth of electricity. 7 of the cars were single-cabbed, just like the regular cab cars, while 2 of them were interestingly double-cabbed, making them kind of like a more dullified version of the RDC, with some inspiration off of the TTC subway cars. Now, what was the point of them though? Well, these specific propelled railcars were intended for off-rush hour service, usually during low periods when few people rode the train, such as the afternoon or night hours. The benefit of this was it used less equipment compared to the full locomotive hauled sets, which would have probably used 1 locomotive and around 6 cars, compared to the rail cars where they could easily be lashed up in 2 to 3 car consists. And it sounds like that could work in concept. A lightweight diesel rail car that could operate on off times, almost like a new version of the RDC? So it seems like they could have worked, right? Well, they didn't, so what went wrong? First was the claims of unreliability with the Rolls-Royce engine, as they proved to be really underpowered with just 330 horsepower being outputted, which when you contrast that with the GP40 TC, capable of producing more than 9 times the amount of horsepower with 3000 HP, that's really saying something. This meant if the railcars were to operate, they either had to run in pairs, or in the worst case scenario, just be a cab car in a diesel hauled consist. And speaking of that, there was also a change in operations, as locomotive hauled trains seemed to be more preferable, especially when ridership blew off on the Lakeshore line, which is now the Lakeshore West. As with more people riding the train and more service expansions, this only meant that more trains were required and more longer consists were needed. And the rail cars on their own couldn't handle the large amounts of passengers within a 2 to 3 car consist. It was clear from this that the writing was on the walls for the rail cars, as by the mid-1970s, the cars were depowered and converted to regular cab cars, and used on locomotive hauled trains ever since. The single-level cab cars were used on GO Transit up until the mid-90s following the purchase of new double-decker coaches from Bombardier. The first 2 cabbies were sold off to the Ontario Northland in 1985, and the rest of the cab cars were sold off to the Agenti Metropolitain des Transports in 1994, serving as cab cars for commuter service in Montreal, until they were all retired in 2010 following the purchase of multi-level coaches from Bombardier. The same ones used by New Jersey Transit. You know, now that I think about it, EXO is literally the Canadian version of NJ Transit. Of all the Hawker cab cars, number 104 was lucky enough to be preserved, as it was restored by GO Transit themselves in 2016, and now remains a static display at Roundhouse Park in Toronto, Ontario, as a past reminder of GO Transit's original passenger equipment. Given that we are a year off from GO Transit turning 60, it really makes me wonder what they have planned. Probably nothing.